This week's parsha is Parshas Balak. We all know the story. Or, not we all know the story, but hopefully we all know the story. I remember when I was graduating high school. So, I went to yeshiva, and I went to a good yeshiva too, right, near Israel. And I was taking bechinos. For tests for the next year to get into yeshiva, like yeshiva gedola, to get into the base medrash program. Wow. I was taking a bunch of tests with American yeshivas, and one of the yeshivos sat me down and they started asking me questions. And they said to me, "So, who was Zimri?" And I looked at them with a little blank stare. Right. Zimri? What does it have to do with the Gemara that we're learning now in Kedushin? So he says to me, "Who is Cosby?" So he says to me, so something was clicking in the back of my brain. Zimri, Cosby. What's that? Zimri, Cosby. Pinchas! Oh! Zimri, Cosby, and Pinchas. That story at the end of Parshas Bilam, beginning of Parshas Balak, at the end of the beginning of Parshas Pinchas. I said, "That's a summer parsha. How do you expect us to know that?" Yeah. True story. Anyway, he laughed. He liked the answer.
Should I didn't?
Yeah, actually, I turned them down.
Really? Where did you end up going?
I went to Yeshiva's Kol Torah in Eretz Yisrael by Vegan. You ever heard of that?
Mm-hmm.
Shlomo Zalman's Yeshiva. Anyway, so Parshas Balak, the story goes that Balak, in the beginning of the Parsha, he's all afraid that the Jews are taking over the world. Right? Sound familiar?
Mm-hmm.
And he tries something interesting, something unique, something that's very different. He goes and hires Bilam. Bilam is a Navi from the Umas Ha'olam. He's a non-Jewish person, but he's a Navi. And he knows how to curse people and win battles like that. So he hires him to curse Yisrael. Of course, we know that none of his plans succeeded, and his plot was foiled. And instead of cursing Klal Yisrael, Bilam actually blessed Klal Yisrael, gave them brachos. And we know some of the brachos, Matovu Balak Rabbi Yaacov, comes from Bilam. And if we study this week's parsha, we'll see that towards the end of the parsha, all of the different brachos and conversations that go on between Bilam and Klal Yisrael and Bilam and Balak. And it's quite a fascinating, interesting parsha and a lot to learn. It says the Gemara in brachos 12b. Bikshu likvoya Parshas Balak bikriyashma. They wanted to make Parshas Balak, to institute that Parshas Balak should be part of Kriya Shema. So instead of saying Shema Yisrael, V'ahavta, V'hayim Shemoa, V'yomer, you'd also say Parshas Balak, the whole thing.
Mm-hmm.
The whole thing, from the beginning to the end. Can you imagine how long davening would be if you had to do that?
It would add another 15-20 minutes minimum.
Right. So the Gemara says they wanted to, but they didn't do it. Why? So here's the Makar, the source of the idea called Tircha de Tzibura.
I was just going to say Tircha de Tzibura.
Yeah, you didn't actually think that was in the Gemara, right?
No.
The Gemara says Mishum Toreach Tzibur.
Right.
Because it's Tircha de Tzibura. It's the Tzibur is going to have to daven for so long, say Kriya Shema for so long, or in the olden days, those who didn't know how to recite Kriya Shema, at least they would listen to Kriya Shema. It would be very difficult for the Tzibur. Bottom line, difficult for the Tzibur. We don't do it. My timer, but the Gemara introduces this idea that maybe Parshas Balak should be part of Kriya Shema. The Gemara says, why? My timer, why? For what reason? Amar Rabbi Yossi bar Avin Mishum Dechsiv Bei Haikra. Because it says this pasuk. Kora Shochav Ka'ari. You kneel and go to sleep like a lion. Uchilovi Kimenu. And like a lioness who gets up like you. Bilam was blessing Klal Yisrael, and he compliments them that, wow, it's a nation, praises them, a nation that goes to sleep like a lion and wakes up like a lavi, which is lioness. Right? It's like very powerful. You go to sleep. Rashi says, what does that mean? Shochav, he says, Rashi explains it. Since you go to sleep with Hashem, with Kriya Shema, and you get up with tefillah and with mitzvos, tefillin, talis, again Kriya Shema. So therefore that's a reference to Kriya Shema. As a nation that goes to sleep and gets up with such koyach, with mitzvos and with Hashem. So that's almost the same as the shach b'chov kumecha. Right, we read Kriya Shema twice, when we go to sleep and when we get up.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
But they do the whole parsha because of that one pasuk?
Right.
So there must be more than that pasuk.
The Pri Tzaddik asked that question. Pri Tzaddik is Rabbi Tzaddik the Kohen, and he asked that question. He says, so fine, so it's a good remez, it's a hint, but to say the entire Parshas Balak because of that remez, it can't be. It has to be that the entire Parshas Balak has to do with Kriya Shema. The essence of Parshas Balak has to do with Kriya Shema. Actually, when I quoted to you Rashi before, Rashi says that explanation on a different pasuk. It says, another pasuk says, Hina'am kalavi yakum uka'ari yisnasa. He says, he uses the comparison between Klal Yisrael and a lion, a lioness, twice. Right? The second pasuk says that the nation gets up like a lioness, and Ka'ari is Nasa, it elevates itself like a lion. Yishkav ad yochal teref, the nation doesn't go to sleep until they eat their prey. V'dam chalalim yishtan, drink the blood of the carcasses. In comparison, it's compared Klal Yisrael to a lion. Rashi says that when they get up in the morning, they get up like a lavi. What does that mean? To grab mitzvos, to wear talis, to read Kriya Shema, to put on tefillin. And lo yishkov means that yochal teref, they don't go to sleep until they don't go onto their beds until they read Kriya Shema.
Right.
Right? And then when they read Kriya Shema, they put themselves in the possession of Hashem. Right? They deposit their souls in the hands of Hashem, and they feel protected. That's what Rashi says over there. So we have to understand there seems to be references to going to sleep, to getting up, to mitzvahs, and to Kriya Shema. What is the connection between Parshas Balak and Kriya Shema? And I'll bring you another proof that it can't just be because of these psukim. It has to be an intrinsic idea. Because why didn't we end up saying Parshas Balak and Kriya Shema? Because it would take too long.
Right.
So say this pasuk.
Yeah, that's a lot faster.
Yeah, say one pasuk. It can't just be that it's that hidden, the hint in the parsha of Balak to Kriya Shema to Shachbacha to Kumecha. It has to be that there's some sort of theme, idea of Parshas Balak that ties directly into Kriya Shema. What is that? The Gemara in Sanhedrin, 105b, says as follows. Amar Rabbi Yochanan. Rabbi Yochanan said, Mibirchasei shel osa rasha, from the blessings of that rasha, that wicked person, atad lamed mahaya belibo. You can sort of derive what was in his heart.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Because we know that he wanted to curse Klal Yisrael, and Hashem turned the curse into a blessing. So if you study the blessing, you'll be able to derive what the curse was. So says the Gemara, from the curse, from the blessing of that Rasha, of that evil person, as reference to Bilam, you'll be able to know what was truly in his heart, what he had in mind to curse Klal Yisrael. Bikesh loymar shelo yu lahem batei knesios ubatei midrashos. He wanted to uproot the Beis HaKnesses and the Beis HaMedrash from Klal Yisrael. He wanted to uproot the synagogues and the study halls from the Bnei Yisrael. And therefore, Hashem turned that into a blessing. And what was the blessing? Ma toivu ahalecha Yaakov mishkanasecha Yisrael. How great is the tents of Yaakov, the mishkanasecha Yisrael. What does it mean? Ma toivu ahalecha Yaakov, that the Shechina, right? Ma toivu ahalecha Yaakov, that the Shechina should be shora and Klal Yisrael should rest itself on Klal Yisrael. So obviously he wanted that the Shechina shouldn't rest on Klal Yisrael. The Gemara says, "Ma tovu alecha Yaakov lo sishra Shechina aleim." He didn't want the Shechina to rest on them. Umishkanasecha Yisrael lo yisehei malchusa nimsheches kenachalim natayu. He didn't want that the Shechina should rest on Klal Yisrael, and therefore Hashem turned it into a bracha, and he said, "Ma tovu alecha Yaakov." That's what the Gemara says. The Maral in Gur Aryeh, and the Pasuk, Gur Aryeh is the parish of Maral. The Pasuk, Rashi says that Bilam wanted that there shouldn't be Batei Knesios and Batei Midrashos in Klal Yisrael. Batei Knesios is a reference to Ahalecha Yaakov, and Mishkanasecha Yisrael means Mishkanasecha Yisrael, that the Shechina, Mishkanasecha Yisrael, the Shechina shouldn't be Shira in Klal Yisrael. He wanted to curse them. What did he want from this? Says the Maharal, what he wanted was to put a separation. The Lashon is Lahafrid Chas v'Sholom HaShechina mi-Yisrael, to separate the Shechina from Klal Yisrael. Says the Maharal, so as long as we have Batei Knesios and Batei Midrashos, so as long as we have shuls, synagogues where we can congregate and pray together, so as long as we have Batei Midrashos where we can gather together around the table and sit and learn, the Shechina is going to be in Klal Yisrael. Just as we say, Kol zman sheYisrael mispalim, Chazal say, as long as Klal Yisrael is davening, Shechina shoyre beineihem, the Shechina is amongst them. And if they're not davening, the Shechina is not amongst them. And similarly study. Miyom shechara Beis HaMikdash, the Gemara says, from the day that the Beis HaMikdash was destroyed, Ein lahakadosh baruch hu, God only has Ella. Where does he rest? He can't be in the Beis HaMikdash anymore. Where is he? B'daled amah shel halacha.
Right.
Only in the 4 cubits of halacha, which means in the study halls where they're learning about the Daled Amos of halacha. They're learning about the halacha. It's the four amos. I mean, this room is maybe 4 by 4 amos by 4 amos. The Daled Amos shel halacha.
Mm-hmm.
Right, 8 feet by 8. Okay, a little bigger. The 8 feet by 8 feet of halacha. Right. The study hall, the study room, the Daled Amos shel halacha. The Shechina is where is the Shechina Shira? In a Beis HaKnesses, in a Beis Medrash, Daled Amos shel halacha. So says the Maharal. Also, you see that in the Gemara says in Brachas, Shnayim sheyoshvin v'oiskim b'Torah Shechina beineihem.
Wow.
2 people are sitting and learning together. The Shechina is in between them. What did Bilam want? He wanted to take that away. He wanted to take away the Batei Midrashos. He wanted to take away the Batei Knesios. So what did he... why did he want to take that away? Because his goal was to get the Shechina to separate from Klal Yisrael. Ma toivu alecha Yaakov mishkanasecha Yisrael was supposed to be a curse. It turned into how great are your Batei Knesios and your Batei Midrashos. that through them the Shechina is Shoyre Mishkanaisecha Yisrael. That the Shechina is Shoyre in Klal Yisrael. But it was supposed to be a curse. He wanted to say the opposite. He wanted to divide the Rebbeinu Shalom. I remember when I was in yeshiva, and one of our colleagues in yeshiva, one of our good friends, was leaving. So he left Parshas Balak. So he left yeshiva, this Parsha. It was summertime, and he left yeshiva for this. He left for good. So we had a Sudas Preda. You know what a Sudas Preda is? A Suda that you have when somebody leaves.
How long is he leaving for?
He left yeshiva.
He's finished.
For good.
Done.
Yeah. So we had a Sudas Preda. And since I was his roommate, they asked me to speak.
Wow.
And I said, it's very interesting in Parshas Balak that every Aliyah, how it ends. Let's make a for a second. You take a look at Parshas Balak, and you look at the end of each Aliyah. I think not the first one, right? Every Aliyah, Balak mentions that you have to do whatever. It's funny because it's at the end of each Aliyah.
Yeah, you have to do
right? You have to do whatever Hashem says. That's what he says every single time at the end of the Aliyah. He'll read it for you. Not the first one, but thereafter. He says, right? Hashem says, whatever I say to you, that's what you have to do. Then he starts repeating that. He says, right? I'm coming with you. Can I speak anything? Whatever God tells me, whatever Hashem puts in my mouth, that's what I'm going to have to say.
At the end of 5, same thing.
Yeah, but Yan B'Yomer Haloyas Asher Yasim Hashem B'Fi Oislei Eshmo L'Daber. Whatever Hashem says to me, that's what I'm going to have to say. 6. You still going? Verse 6. Yeah. I told you already. Whatever Hashem says, that's what I have to do. 7. Right? How can I do good? Or can I? Even if you give me all the gold and silver that you want to give me, I can't do anything good or bad from my own heart. Asher Yadaber Hashem Oisei Yadaber. Whatever Hashem says to me, that's what I'm going to have to do. And that's it. It's all the middle ones, except for the first and the last one. The 5 in the middle. The first one, Hashem tells him, whatever I say to you, you're going to do. And the next 4, he repeats. Mm-hmm. And that happens at the end of each Aliyah. Isn't that interesting? Mm-hmm. That they chose to end the Aliyah at that place in each Aliyah. And you see that also. I mean, what does the Gemara say? Bilam was supposed to curse Klal Yisrael. What was the curse of Klal Yisrael that he was supposed to do? He was supposed to be mafrid Shechina to Klal Yisrael. He was going to separate the Shechina. He wanted that Klal Yisrael would not listen to the Rebbeinu Shalom. He ended up partially successful, by the way. He was the one who got the daughters of Midian to come out. But at the end of the day, I mean, he himself was saying, no, only what God says, that's what we do. Right? So it came out the exact opposite. But you see what his intention was to do.
So it wasn't that just that he was paid to curse, and you just go where the money is.
All right. We're going to see that. Now, if we take a look at our own history, if we take a look at our own history, there's really 2 types of enemies of the Jewish people. There's the enemy of the Jewish people, like the story of Purim, Haman, where he wanted to wipe out and destroy Klal Yisrael. And there's the enemy of the Jewish people who, like Hanukkah, they didn't necessarily want to wipe out the Jews. They only wanted to wipe out the Jews if they wouldn't convert, or if they wouldn't cut their connection with God. There's really 2 types of people. Now, it's interesting that we've seen others, like Amalek came the first time and waged war against Klal Yisrael, but this is the first time we see the nation Midian, Moav and Midian together, and they come to Bilam, and what are they telling Bilam to do? They tell him to curse Klal Yisrael, right? So what does Bilam come and what does it mean to curse Klal Yisrael? But you can't just say, I mean, we imagine this whole thing with, like, like childish understanding of like a guy with a magician's hat, right, and going like this, waving his wand like back and forth, like you were cursed, and then they're gonna all die, right?
Even from the Lashon, he doesn't even know who he was supposed to curse. It's just a big, large people. He doesn't until even Hashem says you can't go with them. They're blessed. You can't go curse them because they are blessed people.
Right.
So forget about it.
Right.
Trust me, he's hoping.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I mean.
But he's already gone and.
But it's almost like, you know, if he curses.
I understand that, but he doesn't know that in this case they're asking him to curse Klal Yisrael.
It's almost like if he goes and curses, like if he curses them, then they're finished, right? Like what is that? What's he doing? And now I think we have a little bit of a better understanding of what he was trying to do.
Yeah.
He was trying to evoke a certain koyach. I mean, there was certainly supernatural here. There's no doubt. But the effect that he was trying to have was an effect of period, of separating Klal Yisrael from the Rabbanu Shalom. I mean, this was the type of thing where he was trying to make them go astray. He knew that if they would stay committed, that there would be no way. You can't curse Klal Yisrael. I mean, that's what we learned from this parsha. You can't curse Klal Yisrael.
No.
Right? But he was trying to make them not Klal Yisrael anymore. That was his objective.
It's a different thing.
Yeah. That was his objective. He wanted to separate God from them. And that's what he was trying to do here.
But little did he know.
was the first one who came and waged war against the spirituality of Klal Yisrael.
As opposed to physical.
But the issue is, we know, the Hasidic masters speak about this extensively, the entity of Klal Yisrael is an untouchable entity that's without sin, that is always, because that was one of the two Reshis, that's what the world depends on, Torah and Yisrael. Reshis Torah, Reshis Yisrael. And this entity of Klal Yisrael, the world depends on it. And without this, we'll call it this key cornerstone, the world collapses, the world ceases to exist. He must have known that to some degree. Bilam was not a dummy. Bilam was a very intelligent man. You had to be gifted with tremendous brilliance just to get so close to prophecy. You can't be a shtick fleish. You have to be somebody of tremendous abilities. I mean, the only one that came close to him in the Goyish world was probably Aristotle, who they said was very close to Nevi'us, just a couple steps away. But and Aristotle was a tremendous brilliance. So you see, he must have been a brilliant guy, but how did he not conceive that? I mean, we can say Goyish Cup, but how is it possible that he can't conceive that or see this as a cornerstone? You can't, it's untouchable. It's like Elliot Ness used to be in the old days.
Say that again, what?
It's an age thing. Don't worry about it.
You're too young. Elliot Ness used to program on TV called The Untouchables.
Yeah.
Yeah, but maybe he had, I mean, obviously from just the way he and those Leahs, he obviously had his own connection with God.
He said it right in the puzzle. He says, Hashem, my God, spoke to me. Right? Bilam says, Hashem, my God, spoke to me and said, I can't go with you.
Yeah.
So then
why would he see that the Jewish people, then he wouldn't want to see the Jewish people as having a connection?
Well, then there's always the question like, why did God say, okay, you can go, but you can't say anything?
Because God saw what he wanted to do. He had this tremendous taiva to curse the Jewish people.
Rashi says, whenever somebody wants to go, he lets them do it.
Ultimately.
He lets them fall.
Let's
try to understand this on a little bit of a deeper level.
And someone always says, where's Moshe when all this is going on? And he's always hidden, and you don't know this. Right. And there's no time frame from last week's parasha, from Mekukas to this. Right. We're going 39 years, because we're almost in the 40th year right now with this going on.
Yeah, absolutely. We're already in the 40th year. And the Bnei Yisrael didn't even know about it.
Yeah.
Right? Didn't even know what was going on.
It's very interesting. It's an interesting thing. It's like almost a sidebar story to add into the Torah.
Yeah.
It's like, where does this come from all of a sudden?
Yeah. So let's try to understand it a little bit more. The Rambam in Moreh Nevuchim explains the idea. He says that it's our minds, our seichel, our intellect, which Hashem gave us, which attaches us to Him. If somebody wants to become closer with Hashem, he has to do that through concentration, through focus. This is what the Rambam says in the Mon Jun. And if he doesn't, in other words, and if he doesn't focus, on his relationship with Hashem, then he becomes more distant from Hashem. As automatic. During the day, when you're thinking of 3 million different things, you drift further and further from your connection. Your connection between you and Hashem becomes weaker. And when you focus on the Rabban Shalom, when you concentrate on Hashem, so then your kesher between you and Hashem becomes much, much stronger.
Bilvavi speaks extensively about that.
Yeah, but this is Bilvavi's idea. It comes from the Rambam Varnavuchen. זה השכל אשר שפע עלינו מהשם יזברך הוא הדיבוק אשר בינינו ובינו. ברשוס נתונה לכל, right? The permission is granted to anybody. אם תרצה לחזק הדיבוק הזה, if you want to become connected with Hashem stronger, תעשה. So focus your mind. ואם תרצה להחלישו מעט מעט עד שתפסקהו תעשה. And if you want to weaken it, so weaken it. The only way, he says, lo yischazek ze hadibuk rab bihismashech, only when you have a continuous connection, a continuous focus on the Rabban Shalom, tia kavanoscha eleha, v'chulshasa tia, says that when you lose focus, so when you think about other things besides for Hashem, so your connection between you and Him becomes weaker. He says, even if a person's very close to Hashem, and he understands the ways of God, when he turns his mind to other things, he loses that strong kesher between him and the Rabban Shalom.
Wow. So that's sort of the story of how David HaMelech passed away.
Right. Yeah.
He was so close to Hashem, and yet the Malach HaMavet rattled the window and
absolutely
got us
and
distracted.
It's a scary thing almost.
Yeah.
Because when you're focused on the Rabban Shalom, you're close to the Rabban Shalom. But when you're not focused on the Rabban Shalom, you're not connected to Him. Or your connection becomes weaker and weaker and weaker. Of course, Hashem puts us in this world. It gives us challenges that we have to go like a yo-yo every single day. But there are certain times during the day where we're able to focus. And perhaps we're not doing it as much as we should. The Torah says, in Hilchos Tefillah, he says, how should your mind be when you daven? He says, one who davens has to focus his mind, his heart and his mind, right? Such that his mind is clear from all else and only focus on the words that he's saying. And when you're standing in front of the Rabban Shalom, that has to be right, when you're in an important business meeting, even if you have 100 things going on, or when you're giving a shir, even if you've just had 100 things going on, you have to focus on the shir, otherwise you're going to mess up, right? Or you have to focus on the meeting, otherwise you're going to say the wrong thing. Start playing with your BlackBerry during the meeting, or you might mess up, you might not get the account. You might miss something important. Kavachomer, Ben Benosha Kavachomer, so much more so when you're standing in front of the Rabban Shalom. How can you not be focused? The Torah says you have to be focused, and we know in the Gemara, in Brachas, Chasidim HaRishonim used to sit an hour before davening in order to focus their minds on Tefillah. What does that mean? Why were they focusing? What do you need to focus for? Why do you need to prepare? What do you need to do? Why do you need to clear your mind completely from all other thoughts in order to focus on davening? Because since tefillah is hashras hashchina, since the Shechina comes down in the Beis HaKnesses, and what does that mean, the Shechina comes down? How do we connect to that Shechina? That's through focus in our minds. Mm-hmm. It's an amazing thing that the Mon Jun is saying. Because what he's saying actualizes the concept that we're a chelik Elokai mimah. Because, sometimes you feel connected to the Ribono Shel Olam, but he's external to you. But the Mon Jun is saying it's not external to you. It's inside your mind. Mm-hmm. The Ribono Shel Olam is in your mind. So the more you focus on it, the more reality it really is. And the less you focus on it, the less of a reality it really is. And that's what Kirvas Elokim means. Mm. It's an amazing idea. Yeah. That's what Kirvas Elokim means. What does it mean? Doesn't mean you go like this and the Ribono Shel Olam starts coming close to you. Focus. You focus your mind on the Ribono Shel Olam. He's there in you. When does that happen? Where does that happen? Prior and during tefillah. And what do we do during tefillah? We mess it up. We start thinking about our day, if it's chakras, or if it's mincha, we think about what we're in the middle of, and if it's mariv, we think about either yesterday, the day we just did, or the following day. We relax our minds. It's true. We relax our minds. We have some time, some spare time we have to think about our day. Right? Isn't that what happens?
I don't think we're supposed to do that.
No.
I think that's not proper.
No. We're taking an opportunity, the opportunity, not an opportunity, the opportunity of Kirvas Elokim, and we're squandering it. We're not focused. So my in-laws are coming to my house and there's wet paint in the front, so if they call I have to make sure that they're not afraid and don't wait for me outside the house.
Wow.
But anyway.
They're coming over tonight?
I'm not focused! We take the idea and the tefillah, the opportunity.
Just to show you an example, he didn't do that on purpose. He has to show you to do it on purpose. Like they say, Klal Yisrael really didn't sit on purpose in the desert only to show how to do tshuva, for Klal Yisrael to do tshuva.
Well, I'll let you guys decide whether that was real or not. But anyway.
Perfect timing.
So I have a question on the
We're squandering that Kirvas Elokim. What are we doing to ourselves? Sorry?
Question, this is a question that bothered me, is tefillah. I like when we take our time and daven with Kavana as much as possible, but as you say, it's difficult. There are days that you can be razor sharp focused on your Amidah, and there are times that it's difficult to do. So, and there are other people I know who they daven so fast, they're finished before I'm finished the first 2 paragraphs. And I'm like, how is it possible? What kind of Kavana is there? But an answer I've heard sometimes is, well, they have no distractions that way. It's so fast they cannot be distracted. I don't understand which way to take that. To me, it makes more sense to try and, really concentrate on what you're saying.
Right.
But I don't know if they're right that way to say.
There's no right answer.
No.
You have to do what's right for you.
Yeah.
Yeah. If you feel like you're going to get distracted, it might be better to do it fast. But
then there's past and there's fast.
Right, but if you don't and you take the opportunity, then obviously that's right. We also know a concept that we said before in this year, that nevuah, what is nevuah? The Rambam describes nevuah. Mm-hmm. Nevuah is focusing your mind constantly without interruption on the Ribono Shel Olam. That's what Nevuah is. When a person is so focused without any interruption for a long enough time, he will be Zocha to Nevuah.
Wow.
Chazon Ish used to say that if a person can learn 10 hours straight without interruption, that's a madrega of Nevuah. Chazon Ish.
He's pretty big. He died in 1953.
That's what Nevuah is. It's that ability to concentrate. It's that ability to, when a person learns and he learns without stopping, he builds a kesher between him and the Rabbanu Shalom. That's unbelievable. The way to maintain that bond between us and the Rabbanu Shalom is to maximize our opportunity in the Bati Knesios and the Bati Midrashos.
So those are windows of opportunity.
Bilam, who himself was a Navi, and was obviously a master of this, understood he was a master, but in the Ummah Olam, he was a non-Jew. He understood the koyach of Klal Yisrael, the power of connection to the Rabbanu Shalom. He understood that.
Cut the connection, they're just like any other people. If you could cut the connection,
that's right. But if they're not able to do that, and he understood that, and that's what he set out to do, to break that. The Ramban in the beginning of this week's parsha, it's very interesting. The pasuk says, "Vayar Balak ben Tzipor is called Asher Yisrael Yisrael Amori." Right? Balak ben Tzipor saw what the Bnei Yisrael did to the Amori, killed them. Yagar Moav b'Bnei Ha'am. Right? They got scared. So it says, "Vayomer Moav al Ziknei Midian Atah Yelachu Akals Kos V'Yoseder." They're going to come and eat everybody. Balak ben Tzipor Melech l'Moav Be'Esahi. And Balak ben Tzipor was the king of Moav at that time. So the Ramban asks an obvious question. I mean, what's the order of the psukim there?
Yeah.
It should have said right away, "Vayar Balak ben Tzipor Melech HaMoav Be'Esahi Es Kol Asher Yisrael." Right? What's this? And then after the whole paragraph's finished, Balak ben Tzipor Melech HaMoav Be'Esahi. Says the Ramban.
It's a whole kasha there.
So
it's a whole story there, how they were mortal enemies. They weren't good friends in Midian and
right. And that story says that Moav actually, they didn't have a ruler. Their ruler was killed, and they hired Balak for the specific purpose of destroying Klal Yisrael.
He was a magician. He was a big, Balak. Balak was a huge magician. Big, not as big as Bilam, but very, very talented and very powerful.
So that's why it says Ubalak Melech Moav Be'Esahi, because after it introduces the concept that Klal Yisrael had beaten the Amori, and now we're coming to Eretz Yisrael, that's why Balak was Melech Moav Be'Esahi. Right? That's why he was the Balak Moav at that time. That's why.
They elected him in time.
They elected him to be the king of Moav. What is the Ramban telling us? The Ramban is telling us that they hired Balak and Bilam for a specific purpose to get rid of the Jews. And how was that? How did they accomplish that? Through trying to destroy their spirituality, to be mafred, to ensure that they wouldn't be able to concentrate anymore and they wouldn't have Shekhinah between them. In the Zohar it says in Tikkunim that Amalek, who is Klal Yisrael's biggest enemy, Amalek, is Ayin Mem Lamed Kuf. Take Bilam and Balak.
Last two letters.
The last two letters of both. Bilam, Ayin Mem, Balak, Lamed Kuf.
Amalek.
And what do you get?
Amalek.
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 Bilam Amalek.
Yes.
you get Amalek. This tag team of Balak and Bilam was Amalek. So I prepared the shir this morning in the kollel, and then I davened after, and
did you have to come on that?
He tried. He tries his best.
And during davening, I can't remember at what point, I turned around to the table behind me, and there was a piece of paper, and it had a diagram on it. It had the word Bilam, and the last two letters boxed, and then it had the word Amalek, and the last two letters boxed. What's the last two letters of Amalek? Lamed Kuf. What's the last two letters of Bilam? Ayin Mem.
Right.
So if you combine the last two letters of Bilam and the last letters of Amalek, you also get Amalek. Right? If you combine the last letters of Bilam and Balak, you also get Amalek. Amalek is Bilam and Balak. They are the koyach of Amalek. Now we have seen Amalek in the physical sense, but we haven't seen Amalek in the spiritual sense. And here we see it. This is Amalek. Now what is Amalek? Yeah, we see it in the Midrashim. We've seen Amalek in the spiritual sense, right? That Amalek wages war against Milah, right? And there are different hints that Amalek is that power as well. But there's really two aspects to Amalek. There's the physical and the spiritual. In Parshas V'Shalach, when we talk about the story of Amalek, it says, Vayomer, Hashem promises, Ki yod al keis ka milchama Hashem va'Amalek midor b'dor. My hand is on my case. My case is my chair. Saying there's going to be I'm going to wage war against Amalek forever. Till the end of time. For generation to generation until they're completely wiped out. Right? What is case? Ki ka al case. Right? Ki yod al case ka. Right? The yod of Hashem is on the case. What's a case? Kuf sama. It's short for kisei.
Sure.
And ka is yud k, right? Short for yud k vav k. Says the Rashi that ein kisei sholem. His kisei, his chair is not full. It doesn't have an aleph yet.
Not complete.
It's not complete. Ve'ein shemoy sholem. And his name is not complete.
Okay.
Until Amalek is completely destroyed. That's what Rashi says. What does it mean that his chair is not complete and his name is not complete? Well, what is the chair? The throne of a king is his nation. Ein melech b'lo am. You can't have a king without a nation. His throne, where he sits, is his nation. The shame of Hashem is also how the Ribono Shel Olam interacts with us. We've said that many times. The shame of Hashem, what does it mean? The name. When you call somebody a name, it's how you describe them, how you relate to them. Similarly, the name of the Ribono Shel Olam, whether it's Yud Kei Vav Kei Hoya Hoy V'Viyeh, it's his attributes of how we can relate. He is, was, always will be. Or it's Aleph Daled Nun Yud, where Hashem is the master, or Elokim is Din. Whatever the shame is, a description of certain attributes. Not, Ribono Shel Olam doesn't have attributes. It's the way that we're able to relate to him through his name. These are a reference to Klal Yisrael, Ein Kisoi Shalem. His chair is not complete. His name is not complete. How he interacts with us is not complete. Until Amalek is completely destroyed. Why? Because Amalek tries to stand in the way of our chibur to the Ribono Shel Olam. He tries to make that separation. He tries to cool off that bathtub.
That's right. Scalding hot bath.
Amalek is the Indian of Kerry, right? Of happenstance.
Suffix.
It just happens to be. Whenever Hashem appears to Bilam, it says Vayakar. It doesn't say Vayikra. He doesn't call to him. It's Vayakar. He happens upon him.
Which is what
Lashon
which is much
carry.
Moshe wanted, and that's why the aleph is small in Vayikra.
Right.
Because he was
Yeah,
so,
we had, that was a...
But the Rabbanu Shalom does appear to Moshe with the Aleph.
right.
But the Aleph is not complete. The Kisei is not complete until Abalek is completely wiped out. Safek and Keri, happenstance, and just so happen to be, is
Or science.
when things are not clear. We're not sure about that bond. We're not sure. Uncertainty. We're not focused. We're not properly connected. That's the koyach of Vayakar is the koyach of Amalek. Is the koyach of Bilam. Vayakar, it's not just an attribute of the way Hashem appears to Bilam. It's what he intends to do. This was the plot of Bilam and Balak. This is the war of Amalek against Klal Yisrael. Is to weaken the Chibur. To make us not concentrate, not focus. That like automatic detachment that happens when a person tries to start davening, that's the Amalek inside. That's the Bilam and the Balak inside. Nothing's meaningful, it just happens.
So when you're younger, it's much more powerful.
Well, then that almost sounds, you're equating Bilam and Balak and Malik with Yetzer Hara.
They're pretty
It's
close.
an aspect of the Yetzer Hara.
Because you can see if we have within this we have that part of the Bon Shalom,
But there's that Bilak and that Balak, there's that Bilam and Balak
okay.
that try to interfere with that connection. What is the epitome of deep connection with the Rabbanu Shalom in this world for us? It's Tefillah, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's Torah. But what part of Tefillah?
Shema Yisrael?
Shema Yisrael.
Shema Yisrael? Okay,
Shema Yisrael is the time when we proclaim the oneness of the Rabbanu Shalom.
We take ourselves out of the world.
We take ourselves out of the world and we ascend to another world where we can properly connect. We must cover our eyes. You know that Shema is the only pasuk that if you say it right without specific kavanah, that you're not yotze.
That's right.
You need specific kavanah, not just a kavanah to do the mitzvah that you need and they're all mitzvahs. You need a specific kavanah of the words, otherwise you're not yotze. Haven't fulfilled your mitzvah. It's that deep connection that will bring us to a level of oneness with the Rabbanu Shalom. A level of ultimately that could lead to Nevuah. It's powerful. It's connection. It's deep. It's closeness with the Rabbanu Shalom.